It's conference championship day throughout the NFL, so I figured why not, with just over a month to go before free agency, let's have a talk today about should we not bring back as free agents from last year's team, and who are some targets that we think we could potentially get Brad Holmes to go out and sign at an agreeable contract to bring in and set us up with clear vision into April's draft. Let's talk about all these factors and maybe just a little bit more in today's mock free agency signing Lions Talk Live. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for tuning in this Sunday to Lions Talk Live. I'm sure we're all kicking back, getting some food ready for the big games today, and what a great time of the year it is. The season is quickly coming to a close as far as the playoffs, and before you know it, all of us are going to be knee-deep in researching every free agent in the world while getting ready for the NFL draft. So what a great time to take the first steps in mocking out what the Detroit Lions really need to do to fill needed holes, add everything we need to get lined up for next year's season to get here, which, let's be fair, July gets here quick once the draft's over. So let's dive into first, who are the free agents for the Detroit Lions? Because there are 18 of them. All right, on the screen behind me, you can see the list of the 18 free agents that are currently not under contract from last year's 2022 team. You see Kaminsky, you see Justin Jackson, Bryant. Obviously, you look through the list and see there are some players we're probably okay with letting go. There's some other players we'd all probably like to have come back. But what I'd like us all to do is talk about, if we don't bring this guy back, who can we target in free agency to return? I'm going to start off this by talking about a couple positions on defense. In my opinion, the Lions really have to upgrade defensive tackle, secondary without question, and then linebacker. So with that being said, let's dive into the first person I would target if I'm Detroit. And it may be a little bit of an eyebrow raise, but I'm going to get into it right now. Okay, the first person I'm going to target is Levante David. And yes, I get it's a little bit of an eyebrow raise considering he's, on the plus side of 30. He's not quite the player he once was in his prime, but that doesn't mean he's bad at all. If you check out his coverage grades, he lists as the second best linebacker in all the NFL in 2022. So that says something. I mean, he's somebody that can add a dimension that has been sorely lacking to Detroit defenses. Man, I can't remember, maybe since the 90s from the linebacker position. Linebackers actually get out there and adequately cover in space. But let's not also forget he's very good at helping out in run support and pass rush. So from a Detroit Lions coaching staff that preaches having diversity as far as the ability to play multiple positions and do multiple things from all their players, he seems to fit the bill in that way. The other aspect we all need to consider if we're wearing our Brad Holmes general manager cap is that his price tag is also not going to be incredibly high because of his age. A team filled with youth, perhaps the youngest in all the NFL just a season ago, might take some heed by signing somebody with a Super Bowl ring who's got some wheels left in them at an affordable price on a short-term contract. My guess is if I'm Brad Holmes, I'm not giving anything more than a 2-year deal to him, which also means he's around to help develop younger players. So if we can add somebody, and whether it's, Levante David, who knows, but somebody similar to him, let's look at who's on our roster that we would want to return. I think John Kaminsky, Justin Jackson would jump out at most people. Maybe Elliott in the safety position, but if you watch Lions Talk Live, I'm going to say this. I think my thoughts here, Jeff Okudah needs to move to the safety position. I think he would actually be an excellent safety, perhaps all pro. When for a team that loves to play man-to-man across the board on third down, really, what's the difference between being the DB3 and the safety who can come up and play actual man coverage at a high level? Whatever it is, I'll leave that to you guys to debate. But in my opinion, the Detroit Lions need to then target, after moving Okudah to safety, cornerback. And let's look at the next list of free agents that could potentially be picks for us here. At the cornerback position, I would love for the Lions to go after Tampa Bay's Jamal Dean. Young, yes, he does have a bit of an injury history in college and early in the NFL. But if you've watched this guy play over the years, he is truly a number one cornerback and someone who's still young, able to run, tremendous speed, physical, and has got a ton of experience in big game situations. I would love to get him, but the only question I have for you guys is, would we be able to afford him? You look at the price tag most number one corners get, especially if they're young, and I just wonder if Brad Holmes has that kind of cash to throw out there, knowing in just a season or two, a lot of the rookies who have helped comprise this revival in Detroit are going to need to get paid. So it would be my anticipation, just like Levante David at the linebacker position, that someone like a Patrick Peterson may have to come into town, somebody that you can play as a DB2 or potentially 3, depending on what you do in the draft, who round out, again, a team that relies a ton on man-to-man coverage. Let's be fair, Patrick Peterson, at least statistically, had his second best season in his 12-year career. And that's really saying something in 2022 once you've logged that type of minutes and amount of games. But he still has wheels, still excels in man-to-man, and if we can get him to play a cornerback 2 or 3 position, I think we got real value there for the price tag. I do want to add a little bit more to this, that it would be my anticipation. Let's assume that this mock goes right. We get somebody like Levante David and then maybe like a Patrick Peterson. The idea is that they're only going to be on, 2-year contracts. I don't really think you'd want to give any of them 3-year contracts and get back into cap situations that we're just starting to get out of. But hear me out. If you're going to really target defense in the NFL in those positions this year, Patrick Peterson as your number 3 corner all of a sudden looks pretty good. Levante David can help nurture younger, inexperienced linebackers into some of the nuances of the game, especially if you were somehow able to get them on a 1-year deal, which I don't think is realistic. But if you get them on a 2-year deal, how much could Malcolm Rodriguez or Derek Barnes learn from this guy? Maybe James Houston even a little bit could develop under his tutelage. So if you can get somebody to come in and help at those 2 key spots, that's been there, done that, and these guys know how to help them, how much faster is that learning curve for all the rookies now coming in? Next spot I think we need to target is definitely a nose tackle or defensive tackle interior position. And I'm going to go right to Minnesota to get my guy. I'm going to go to Delvin Thompson to come out here and help fill that middle next to Aleem McNeil and put Bugs more on the bench in a 3-person rotation. Again, depending on what we then do in the NFL draft. But he is one of the best guys in the NFL at getting pass rush from that position. McNeil is great at helping stuff the run, same with Bugs, but now we need somebody in there who can consistently, on first or second down where it's less obvious pass rush situations, get through the line and help get penetration up the middle with pressure on the quarterback. He's someone who's still young enough to, I think, get attention for consideration long-term for Detroit, but he's got a little bit of experience, and that's what I'm trying to target here in this year's free agency. Guys that have got experience that can help mentor a lot of the younger players the Detroit Lions have accumulated already and will accumulate this year and next. What price tag would he get? That's going to be tough. He's not going to be probably the first nor second defensive tackle that's going to be targeted by everybody, but he's probably in the conversation for number 5 through 3. So if you can get him a little bit cheaper, and again, like the other positions, on 1 or 2 year contracts that are affordable for the team, I think you got some real potential there. Tomlinson at 6'3.5", roughly 325, 330 some pounds, would help plug up the hole, give some size and girth. But again, like we already talked about, he also has pass rush skills, which we typically, at least, don't get from our other interior defensive linemen. Yes, Kaminsky, who's a defensive tackle / end, does give pass rush abilities, but he's not great at stopping the run on the interior on first and second down, which is why he's typically not in there on those downs. So adding another player of depth, somebody that obviously Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell understand, they want to have depth on both the defensive line and offensive line. They really want to be able to throw a ton of bodies on pass rush and run stopping plays up the middle. So this would add another element to the already developing depth the Detroit Lions have on that line. So can he get him out at a good price? Can he get him on a 2-year deal? Well, he's played in New York. He's played a season now, or 2 seasons, with Minnesota. What's it going to cost to get him? This is the guy I would target because, again, the youth, the cost, you don't have to pay the high-end dollars that the top couple guys are going to get, and get somebody who can help nurture and develop other younger players. All right, as far as free agency and targeted players I'm going to go after, this is probably the last one because I don't think it's realistic the Lions are going to break the bank and go out after 5, 6, 8, 10 guys in free agency unless they're smaller contracts, depth players, etc., while retaining some of their prior players from last year. So the next person I would go after, and if you watch Lions talk for a while, you've heard me mention him before, would be from the Baltimore Ravens, Ben Powers. Offensive guard, I think you slide him right into the right guard spot. He is a mammoth man. Depending on who you're asking to measure him, he's somewhere around 6'4" and anywhere from 330 to 340 pounds. So a team that wants to run the ball, that yes, sets up play action, having him in there next to some of our other great offensive linemen, that line looks really impressive. And whoever the running backs are, plus the quarterback, they're going to have some significant time or holes open to them to run up the middle, out wide, or play action, have a little time to hit some deep shots. And with Jameson Williams probably fully healthy, recovered by next spring, let alone next season, having someone like that in there to help stop blitzes up the middle would be a big win for this offense and help allow the defense to remain on the sideline, staying fresh. So I'm not going to make today's video incredibly long, but I did want to throw it out there to you guys. The other thing I really wanted to see, when we did the interactive mock draft, I thought it was awesome how much everybody responded, threw their thoughts out there, even created some other ideas for me to consider. And you guys with the community have done a great job with all the videos, throwing some ideas, information out there that maybe I wasn't privy to, whatever it may be. So with this video, if you could in the comment section below, let me know at least what you think of my picks. Who would you target as far as backups here and there? Here's the other idea I didn't really dive into because I think I'd rather have them draft a backup quarterback. But if there is a backup out there who's got some years in the NFL under him, who would you want the Lions to go get? If you have any ideas on who we should resign and not resign, go ahead and feel free to throw that in the comment section below. I'm going to say Amani Aware, there's no way he's back. There's a couple other guys that are probably not looking too good to return in 2023, but let me know your thoughts. I do want to say thanks to everybody for helping me reach nearly 2,200 subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Take you maybe a second and a half to hit the subscription button, leave an interactive thumbs up, and some comments in the section below. All right, go enjoy your Sunday. We'll see you all tomorrow on another Lions Talk Live.